Christopher Judge is the person of the year. He's the voice of a god, he was on Stargate, and he's also the guy that roasted Call of Duty in front of millions of people. If you didn't watch the Video Game Awards, let me help sum it up for you. Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate 3, and Baldur's Gate 3. The award show itself was pretty bland, as it was pretty much a runaway success for Baldur's Gate 3, but one big event happened that led to some interesting conversation online. Christopher Judge, the voice of Kratos from God of War, went up to present an award and basically turned into the roast master general himself.
No 8-minute speech like last year, but fun fact, my speech was actually longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign. What?
Now the joke itself isn't anything like groundbreaking. It was a pretty okay joke, but the fact that it happened on this massive platform made it hilarious to see. And this joke has obviously led to some backlash from people that worked on the Call of Duty franchise. Because if you've played a Call of Duty game within the last, I don't know, 15 years, you've pretty much said to yourself, this is just basically the FPS version of Madden. Because every game comes out once a year with some slight graphical modification, some maybe new feature, but then other features that people like taken out of the game. And this year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, which I've referred to as $70 DLC because it really is no exception to this. Because the game itself really is just in a lot of ways very lazy. I mean, the zombies is copy and paste, the campaign is like 2 hours long, and the multiplayer itself is just a bunch of reused assets or just remastered maps. So Christopher Judge's joke isn't something that is a shock to many people, because I think a lot of people within the industry and also a lot of players feel pretty similar about how the campaign was one of the biggest middle fingers to the entire player base. And if you haven't played the campaign, I'm just gonna sum it up this way. It's about 2 to 3 hours long, depending on the difficulty you play on, and it's all shock value. Every single bit of it. The campaign makes absolutely no sense. Motivations of certain characters doesn't make sense. Certain characters are brought back for absolutely no reason other than to sell skins in the multiplayer. And the campaign's big death soap, spoilers, is done so horribly as the game just basically ends right there and then. It had me like...
Serious?
So with that being said, Christopher Judge basically just said what every player has been saying, either on social media, YouTube, TikTok, whatever it might be, on this big platform, and this has obviously led to some developers pushing back. There were various developers tweeting out various things, like one tweeting out, "Imagine having short user engagement once your game is consumed, can't relate." Which, having now said that again, is just stupid. I mean, Call of Duty as a game, as a brand, as a franchise, is a massive multiplayer game that has hours and hours of content with constant updates for its multiplayer that people are consuming hours in. Whereas God of War, the game that they're referring to, is literally a single player game that has hours of content in it, but you're only going to get probably 1 or 2 playthroughs out of. And for clarity, I've never played the God of War games. I've heard a lot of people say they're really good, and I'm not taking any jabs at those games, but I'd rather have a quality game like a God of War that everyone says is very good over a pretty subpar experience in a Modern Warfare campaign, or even what we're getting sometimes in the multiplayer. Another developer even saying, funny, but yeah, the metrics that COD absolutely destroys all of the God of War games, probably combined TBH, and is also equally laughable, if not more. Again, Call of Duty games are literally just like the FPS version of Madden. People consume these games like old people consumed soap operas. I mean, it doesn't mean it's good, it just means it's the only thing that's readily available in a market that really doesn't have many competitors in. And this is honestly my personal favorite from one developer that said, honestly, as COD developers, we've heard way worse. But we don't expect it from up here at an event that's supposed to be celebrating this year's achievements in gaming, especially with all the information that was leaked about its development. Now, the Modern Warfare 3 development did sound like it was some sort of hell, but that's all on Activision and Infinity Ward. I mean, in no way should have Infinity Ward been calling the shots on how to develop a video game, and Activision got greedy and released this game instead of it being a free update for the players that got absolutely screwed in Modern Warfare 2. And I don't want to knock Sledgehammer either, because they're doing a very good job with the game, and I've been having tons of fun playing Modern Warfare 3 myself. I mean, a rough development doesn't really make me feel bad after playing a product that could have just been, an update. Also, this is the best time to criticize a game like this. I mean, there's no better place to do something like that, because at some point they have to be held accountable, especially because they're not listening to the player base that either makes videos, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, whatever, which is why I greatly appreciate Christopher Judge going up on this big stage in front of all these different developers and holding this studio accountable, or this franchise accountable, for this awful, awful development. I mean, will it fix things in the future? Probably not. They're probably going to do this again. But it's great that he got up in front of all these people and said what everyone's been saying to these developers for quite some time. Which is why I've decided to take Christopher Judge and make him the BUSHBERRY Person of the Year. Anyways, I'd like to know what you have to say in the comments section below. Do you think Christopher Judge did the right thing by making a joke at the expense of the Call of Duty developers? Or did you feel like it was uncalled for and the developers have the right to be upset? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, great. If you didn't, well, it doesn't get much better. But I'd like to thank you for watching, and well,